welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Shane.
I'm Andrew.
On this episode, we've got a very special double feature of AC/DC.
Absolutely.
If you recall, on our first intro episode, we mentioned that we'd be doing a tribute every now and then and dusting off an old classic album.
Yep.
So tonight, we're going to do a tribute to Bon Scott, and we're going to do a classic album segment on Highway to Hell.
Classic album. Everyone's got to know this one. Everyone should have it in their CD library. So we're going to go with this one for sure.
So first, we're going to start with our tribute to Bon Scott.
Yep.
We've assembled a little video package that
we've just put together.
Yeah, pretty much just demonstrates what we feel about Bon. There's a couple of little facts in there and some pictures of him, which are just real fun to look at.
Yeah, some of them are really funny. I reckon you get a kick out of a lot of those ones. So.
And the song that's played during the video is by $1 Million Reload, who, please excuse us for going on about Northern Ireland, but they're another band from Northern Ireland, and they're awesome.
Well, they wrote this song especially as a tribute to Bon Scott. So
this song fits in with the video perfectly because it was written as a tribute to Bon. So let's have a look at the video.
Yep. Roll.
Welcome back to the Hard Rock Show. That was our little tribute to Bon Scott. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
While that was playing, we were just talking about the photos that feature in that video, and what a character Bon actually was. I mean,
Yeah.
those photos in just about every one of them, he's either being a rock star or he's got a real larrikin, which is like a mischievous person.
Yeah.
For you non-Australians that don't understand what larrikin is.
Yep.
Just that real grin on his face that makes you think that he's up to something.
Well, he always had that gleam in the corner of his eye that you knew he was up to something. He had something in mind. He was... I reckon he would be a hell of a fun character to be around just because you never knew what he was going to pull out of the hat next. I mean, for example, he did the countdown thing where he turned up cross-dressed as a schoolgirl or something. One of their major TV appearances, and he goes and pulls something like that out of that. So you never knew.
I think he just had a brilliant, very off-the-wall sense of humour, and he didn't mind sharing it with everybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as a performer on stage, he was always on fire. And I'm only saying that from watching DVDs and whatnot, because clearly he passed away before either of us were born.
Yeah.
So unfortunately never had a chance to see him live. But he was just the consummate showman. His performances were always brilliant.
Well, as we stated in the video, he was voted as the greatest frontman of all time, ahead of people like Freddie Mercury and a couple of others.
Plant.
Yeah. And that speaks volumes for what this guy was able to achieve on stage. And if you ever watch any videos of him performing live, you can just get sucked in so easy to what he was all about, and it's just riveting.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see this guy live, but never going to happen. But I think it also speaks amazingly for him that people like us that were born after his death are still talking about him over 30 years later.
Yeah.
That's a massive statement to the man and the character that he was and what he meant to music in general, I think, not just rock and hard rock.
Absolutely. But anyway, that was our tribute to Bon Scott. Bon, the Hard Rock Show salutes you. Please do check out $1 Million Reload as well. The song that featured through the video was The Last Icon. Their album's available on iTunes, and we'll definitely have a segment coming up on those guys down the track.
Definitely worth it.
Great album, great band. So do check them out, but we will have more on them later.
Yep.
Right now we're going to talk about our classic album, which is Highway to Hell.
There's not much more we can say about this album apart from the fact that it is an absolute, hands down classic. If you haven't got this, and you call yourself a fan of hard rock, you need to stop watching, go to the shop this second and buy the damn thing, because you will not regret it. Every track on it is priceless. It's nothing but a hard rock album. No frills, no attachments, no funny little production things going on. It's just a brilliant, non-stop rock album.
It's definitely the best AC/DC album of the Bon Scott era.
Yep.
Possibly the best overall AC/DC album.
I would agree with that.
There has been a few that have come close, in my mind, that are all from the Brian Johnson era.
Yeah, I think Back in Black sort of gets up there with it.
Which is, they're probably on par, or as close to on par as you can get. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact that one to the other, they were the next album in line.
Well, the whole album was meant to be a tribute to Bon Scott.
Pretty much.
So that makes a big statement there.
But Highway to Hell, everything from the artwork.
Yeah.
The artwork hasn't even got a lot going on. It's just a picture of the band, but Angus with his devil horns there in a schoolboy uniform. That picture sucks you in right from the start.
Well, that, and again, Bon Scott's smile.
Yeah, again.
It's just evident on the cover. And if
Absolutely.
you ever had any doubt about this guy and his smile and his cheekiness, and that one there does it for you.
Alright, let's have a look at the cover artwork now.
Yep, cool.
Alright, so that was the cover for Highway to Hell.
Yep.
Now, once you get past the cover,
Yep.
you put the disc in, or cassette, or vinyl, whichever format you got it in back in the day. The opening riff of Highway to Hell.
Yeah. That's
Sucks you in right from the start.
absolutely.
Then the drums come in.
Yep.
And then Bon Scott's vocals, that he was never better than on that song, in my opinion.
That's pretty damn good. It's as close to perfect as a man can get, I reckon, in one good song.
And then the album doesn't go anywhere but better from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is Shot Down in Flames.
Yep. If You Want Blood,
If You Want
it.
Blood.
Another person.
Girls Got Rhythm.
Yeah, I love
I
that
love
one.
that song.
Yeah.
What are your two favourite
Mine
songs?
too, we've already mentioned it, but apart from Highway to Hell, which I think is everyone's favourite off of that album, I think, again, Girls Got Rhythm and If You Want Blood, You've Got It for me. What about you?
If You Want Blood was great, and
Yeah.
the live album, If You Want Blood, You've Got It, was
Yeah.
a fantastic live album as well, so
Yep.
check that one out too.
Yep.
My two favourites off the album
Yeah.
would, again, be If You Want Blood,
Yep.
and then the other one would be Touch Too Much.
Yeah.
I love that song. That
Yep.
song is everything that AC/DC were,
Yep.
but something completely different all at the same time, so that one is an absolute favourite of mine.
Yeah.
But Highway to Hell was released in '79,
Yeah.
and it still sounds unbelievable to this day.
It's not dated, it's not old, it's still fresh.
Yep.
Which is a fall down for a lot of albums from that era, that just the years go on and the sounds seem to pass it by. But because it's such a pure rock album, the first one that Mutt Lange worked with AC/DC on, it's just a great sounding record and it stands up to today's sounds easily.
Absolutely. And I would happily put any of AC/DC's later recordings up against it.
Yep.
And I think it would still hold up.
Absolutely, I reckon it does.
I would happily put up a brand new album from most people.
Yep.
And I reckon it would stand up against Highway to Hell. So
The production is masterful. If you ever want an example of how to record and make a good sounding hard rock album, check it out. This can be your template for success if you get it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon another point that's worth mentioning about the album, and particularly the title track, is that Highway to Hell is still being used 30 years plus on in how many movies, TV shows, and all that sort of stuff. It's a classic song from a classic album that just keeps getting more and more and more play. That it never gets old. It's still being used, and it's always current. More
than 30 years down the line, so
yeah,
that says a lot about that song and that band and that album all at once.
Yep.
So, well, that's enough about Highway to Hell.
Yep.
We just wanted to throw a couple more AC/DC albums at you guys, just in case you haven't heard.
They've got a huge catalogue, a lot of material to check out, so go for it.
In my opinion, further listening from Highway to Hell would be obviously Back in Black.
Yeah.
The Razor's Edge, which was that with that and Back in Black, they were probably the two first full AC/DC albums that I was exposed to.
Yep.
So they're always pretty close to my heart, with Thunderstruck and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then the latest offering, Black Ice, I think stands up to all of their past releases. It's fantastic.
And it shows they're not taking a backward step, that one.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And I think that one's a little bit closer to my heart as well, because I got to see them on the Black Ice tour. So
well, there you go.
I think
I've still yet to see them live, unfortunately, so you can hang me now, folks, but next time they come around, I'm buying tickets. The day they come out, if I have to queue up for 5 weeks, I'm going to do it, I tell you.
It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Yeah. But those albums that I've picked, I'll happily pick any AC/DC album. They're just three of my personal favourites. So what would yours be?
I'm going to go back to the Bon Scott era. Again, just keeping on topic here. I reckon 2 albums from the Bon Scott era that are definitely worth checking out are Let There Be Rock. Some great tracks on that one.
Yeah.
And I reckon another one being Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. There are a lot of classic songs from AC/DC on those 2 albums alone. And I reckon if you want more of Bon Scott, then those are the ones to go for, in my personal opinion.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Alright, well that's it for the Hard Rock Show. I hope you enjoyed our tribute to Bon Scott.
Yeah.
And as we said earlier, if you haven't heard Highway to Hell, go out and get yourself a copy, because
right now
you need to hear it.
Yeah.
And once you've listened to that, check out some of our further listening suggestions.
Yeah. AC/DC are a band that are well worth listening to, should definitely be a part of your CD catalogue, and you will not get tired or be failed to impress by these albums. Any of them. They're all great. Every single one of their albums is fantastic.
Definitely.
We've mentioned a handful of their catalogue, not even a quarter, I think, overall. Yeah. And every single one of their albums is fantastic. So
definitely. Well, anyway, this has been the Hard Rock Show. Until next time, drink up.
Rock on.